Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to EmpowerED Educator YouTube channel episode. And this week is going to be a good one. But before we get started, I have to say, I feel like everything is starting to fall in place. You heard me talk about, or if you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about how I hit the wall in education a couple years ago, and I really started to feel burnout, and a couple of things had happened, and I don't know, I was just not loving the profession that I had always loved, and I had to step away for a little bit. And I think that that happens with people, but it happened to me after 28 years of doing it. And it made me feel a little type of way about myself, like I was cheating on education for going into a completely different field. And I could have continued to start a business and support educators, but I didn't. I just didn't. I didn't have a taste for it anymore. As a matter of fact, I felt nauseous when I would start to think about anything when it came to the world of education. And as I started to heal back and get my bearings back together, I started to feel this pull to get back in, right? And I started subbing, and then I decided to take a position, and knowing that at that point, I didn't want to get back to the principalship. And I have to say, not even 2 years yet since I've been out, and it's like, oh gosh, I need to get back into it. But one of the most significant pieces is in January of 2025, I just finally said, you know what, my business needs to support educators because that's who I am. That's my core. And I feel like since I made that decision, things are just starting to fall into play. They're just coming together and they're really moving forward. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited to announce that the wait list opens on April 15 and March 1st is our official launch for my program that will be supporting aspiring administrators, school leaders. If you're a classroom teacher and you believe that it is time to start making some kind of pivot, going into an instructional specialist role or interventionist role or something outside of the classroom, this program really is a game changer for you. Not only did I go back and look at what I would have wanted and what helped me when I was making the transition, because I had a very good principal, I had amazing mentors, but I've also spoken to people since my transition, which was so long ago, and things are a little more involved and more political. And after COVID, some things have shifted a bit. And so now I'm able to talk with people that are doing it in real time and designing this specific for what really is going on out there in the world. I'm very proud of this work. I'm so excited to be able to support you as teachers who want to start making this transition. Whether you've started a master's yet, you've finished a master's, doesn't matter because this is a different kind of program. But I do have to say I'm very selective in who I bring on board with me. And so there is a process, of course, but if you get on that wait list, the first 10 people get the entire program for $397, which is like unheard of. It's really a great deal. I was recommended to go higher, but I wanted to make it doable because I know I'm a teacher, right? I'm an educator. I know what we all make. And then after the first 10 spots are filled, then the price goes to $597. So you're going to want to be one of those first 10 for sure if you're serious about this work. But I will have a link in the notes in the description here so that you can get on that list. But more importantly, if you want more information about that, feel free to reach out, email me, connect with me on social media. You know how to find me. Leave me a message right here on the YouTube episode. I will get with you, I promise, because this is how I can help impact the future of education. And I want this to be the most glamorized, sought after profession out there, just like it was in 1995 when I first started, because finding a job in 1995 was almost impossible. And finding a job in 2025, 30 years later, is just like, okay, I'm a warm body, let me show up. And I don't want our profession to be that anymore. So leadership lessons opening May 1st, but waitlist opens this week on the 15th. So let's talk, let's get you on that. All right, so a quick episode. My daughter is actually on her way here, so I'm not going to be on here long, but I wanted to talk to you this week about our responsibilities as a teacher. And I'll talk about principal responsibilities. I have a whole leadership channel, separate podcasts, weekly episodes for that. And I know that here in this show, I always talk about for both leaders and teachers. But this week, I really want to just talk about responsibilities for you as a teacher. You know, I'm working on also another big project. What's wrong with me, right? I do this to myself, but I'm working on another big project as an alternative certification provider here in Texas. And I will be submitting that later this calendar year and hopefully opening in 2026. So working on all of that, but digging into all of the legalities of that program and thinking about what these educator preparation programs, whether it's a traditional program through a university, if it's a clinical program based on, or a residential program based on, you move from one state to the other, or an alternative certification such as what I'm applying for. There are very specific curriculum items that have to be covered within those programs. And it made me start to think, I wonder if we always really understand our roles and responsibilities in all of this. And then we had a couple of things that took place over the last few weeks at the campus that I work at, where I don't think teachers are being prepared well for this. And it made me, I just got off the phone with a colleague, and it made me think back to my first year of teaching and the very first ARD meeting I went into. Now I'm in Texas, so if you're not in Texas and you follow this show, I'm in Texas, and we call our special ed meetings ARDs because it stands for admission, review, and dismissal. Of course, you know that, but we just call them the ARD meeting. Some states call them the IEP meeting. That's what it was called in Iowa. Everybody is a little bit different, right? But in an ARD meeting, I'm sitting there and I had a student that had come to me and they were saying how significant this student was. And I wasn't seeing quite that. I was seeing certain things, but not quite the same things. But I was too afraid to speak up because I didn't know what my role was in that meeting. And let me just tell you, as a brand new teacher sitting in a room with a diagnostician, this was a special ed director as well. It's just the way it was done way back then. The principal, and then myself, and then the special ed staff. I just thought like, whoa, I'm brand new. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to say anything, which I needed to, but I didn't know what I could say. So I didn't say, and then it wasn't that I got in trouble, but I then, maybe did the child a disservice by not saying everything that I wanted to say or thought I should say. Then it started to make me think about, well, it's not even about that, but think about a parent meeting. Sometimes parent meetings can be really, really scary. And I don't know if I ever wanted to, well, I know I didn't want to go in and say, look, I love your child, but XYZ is not going right? Because no parent wants to hear that. I was a parent. So many different roles and responsibilities that we have as a classroom teacher. And sometimes I think that one, we might not understand them all, so we don't do them, which clearly can be a problem. It's just like, you can't say to the police officer when you get stopped for a violation, oh, sorry, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to go 60 mile an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone, right? I didn't see a speed limit sign, so I thought I could go whatever speed I wanted. The police officer is not going to be like, oh, okay, that's all right then. We'll let you go this time, right? It's the law. And honestly, it's the law. Meaning you're held to these standards and you have to abide by them. So there's that. And then I think also maybe we know it, but we don't know how to implement it, so we don't do it. Okay, right? So one, we don't know what we don't know. Two, we know, but we don't know how to do it. And then three, we know how to do it, but it's not something we want to do, so we don't do it. And y'all, I'm here to say this is going to get us in trouble. It might not today, it might not tomorrow, and you might be able to get away with it for a little bit of time. But legally, it's going to come out. But more importantly, morally and ethically, whether you get caught or not, you're doing kids a disservice. Our job as educators, and we know a brand new teacher going into it is not going to know everything, but our job is to continue to develop ourselves. That's why we have professional development sessions. Yes, some of them are great. And yes, some of them are awful. And sometimes we feel like, wow, could you have just given this to me in an email? And this is what I used to say to my staff. Yes, I could have. However, you might be one of the few who regularly check their email. I need you in front of me so I can ensure that I'm saying this to everybody because everybody's going to be held to the standard. So I get it, y'all, I get it. We're tired, we're busy, especially in April. My gosh, here I am talking to you about, oh, we need to make some changes. And you're just thinking, girl, I just need to get through the rest of this year. Just let me hold my nose, jump into the deep end, and hope that I can swim to the shallow end by May 31st or whatever day you're ending school. But I also have to say this. You may not have known. You may have known and not known how to do it, or you may be choosing not to do it. But you got to change it ASAP. Speaking from a mom's point of view, I always said as a teacher, if it's not good enough for my own child, it's not good enough for anybody else's child. Whether you have kids out there or not, you need to adapt that mentality. You got to give the kids the best. They're kids. I don't care how old they are, even if they're 17 and they're grinding on your nerves right now, they're kids and they deserve the best from you. And number two, you signed a contract or you've been employed under the pretense of you are going to uphold policies and procedures, and they're in place. You may not know them. Hopefully your entity has shared them with you, but if not, it's your responsibility to know them, just like it's our responsibility to know we can't go 60 mile an hour in a 30 mile an hour speed zone. And we also have to remember this. And I said this in my TED Talk, and I really mean it. And I mean this with all the love. I know that there was a point in time in my life that I thought, I'm going to be an accountant. Why? Because math is easy for me. And accountants make good money. And I thought, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. I started, learning more about what accountants do. We had these little tracks in our high school where we could talk to, people that had these positions. They would send us out into the communities. We could, be like little interns, so to speak. And I spoke to accountants and I thought, I can do this. But after stepping back, I knew that was not the job for me. That was not something I was going to be excited about, passionate about, and tedious little things like that, I don't enjoy. I'm ADHD. So why would I put myself into a position that was going to make my life miserable? Teaching was what I wanted to do. Having said that, you signed up for this. And if you feel like this is not the thing for you, I get it. I understand it. Then let's sever our ties. Let's just move on to something else. In my TED Talk, I specifically say, we don't need teachers who chose this as a backup plan. We need people in these roles that believe they have an impact on the future, that are willing to do what it takes to be their best. And they understand the ramifications if they don't. So, short episode today, but remember, you signed up for this. And if this is not what you want, then let's get you off the bus, and that's okay. No hard feelings. Doesn't make you a good or a bad person. But if you did sign up, you're staying on the bus. Let's get you to a place where you can get yourself learning and growing and stepping up and doing the right thing, because it's what you're required to do as a teacher. All right, y'all. Have an amazing week. It's April. We have a 4-day week this week because of Good Friday. I know not every state celebrates that, but we do here in Texas. So I'm going to embrace it and enjoy my Friday off. But I'll see you all right back here next week with another amazing episode.